Today we're gonna read book 2, The Masked Murderer 2, Legacy. Prologue. With the end of the London mob boss Montgomery Churchill, their tyranny ended and London was liberated. The masked person became a legend in both the London underworld and London itself. In the mid-1900s, the masked person had died, and London was faced with a bigger threat. Eventually, this would take a boy named Michael Angelos into uncharted territory. The location, New York. Chapter 1, The Remnants. Not all the London mobsters were killed, though their chain of command fell apart with the death of Montgomery Churchill. Theodore Cappuccini, the concierge, and Mike Rosini, the underboss, and the three capo regimes named Alex, Jespers, and David, and some other low-ranking members called soldiers, and London mob remnants were now doing small-time crime and gangs of their own. Montgomery before he died. It was revealed that he secretly had ties with the New York Mafia. This was found out by the famous detective named Brandon, who feared that London was being faced with a bigger threat. Chapter 2, The Mask Reborn. After the London Mafia fell apart, she knew the French mercenary to be trusted, so she went to the location of Jacques the Frenchman, and when she arrived, Jacques drew his rapier to her neck and demanded who she was. She revealed that she was the masked murderer. Then the Frenchman demanded that she prove that this was true with a fencing duel. Seeing that she had no other choice, she reluctantly agreed to the Frenchman's request. Jacques gave her another rapier, and the fencing duel began. It lasted 10 minutes at the most. She was so skilled that she used her fencing sword to take the other sword out of the Frenchman's hands. With two swords, she pointed them, almost crossing Jacques' neck. Jacques then fell to his knees and admitted, "You truly are the masked murderer, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise." She then said, My time is at a close. I wish to put this mask in a safe in the burned out bank, but I know I can trust you, so here's the safe code, 6191. Before she left, however, the Frenchman Jack said, "I vow with my own life that you can rest assured that I will not give this information to anyone." She only replied to French, "Oliver," which means goodbye. With that, she disappeared into the shadows. She then arrived to the bank hideout. The safe was well hidden within the burned out bank. She found the safe, opened it, and put the mask in there, and then locked the safe with the code given to the French mercenary. After the masked murderer looked away, the mask, and knew it was safe, she decided to live a normal life with her son. But all the while she was teaching him skills she had acquired, never worrying about the mask again. Oh, 7 viewers, let's go. Chapter 3, Michael's Rise. 20 years later, Michael, now a man, and his mother, the masked murderer who lay on her deathbed, was revealing that she has a secret past. But she needed someone from her past to tell him the secrets that needed to be revealed. She then very weakly gave direction and information for the location of the Frenchman, Jacques. She told him, "You must hurry because I am not long for this world, and London needs you." Nice. Oh, somebody said nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chapter 4, The Meeting. Michael wasted no time in arriving at a beautiful, quiet, hilly mountaintop farm to meet with the Frenchman, who now by this time was an old man himself. As Michael approached, he was greeted by the Frenchman, who was sitting on a chair with a sword across his lap. Michael tried to explain to the old man who he was. What? So basically, I'm reading a story that I wrote in high school a long time ago called The Masked Murderer. Where was I at? But regardless of age or how weak he was, the Frenchman made a promise that he intended to keep at any cost. The only thing that Michael could think of that would convince the old man to reveal the secrets of his mother's past was to tell him that his mother's last words were, "London needs you." At this point, the Frenchman realized what he needed to do. The two men sat all night revealing secrets and stories from the past. When morning came, the old man was dead, and Michael had the combination and the secrets and knowledge to save London. Chapter 5: An Alliance for London. As Michael arrived at the burned out bank, he couldn't believe that his mother was able to be in such a filthy place. As the last member of the combination was turned and the safe was opened, Michael was overwhelmed with a feeling of justice that he could not deny. He was then ready to convince the London Mafia to join in his plan to stop the New York Mafia. Michael sent a message to the remaining London Mafia to meet him and discuss the plan and earn their trust. He did this by choosing a place that everyone would respect. Hi, Jaden. His mother's grave. The remaining mobsters of the London Mafia were so moved by his gesture, he didn't have to speak much for them to agree to help to protect London and liberate New York. Chapter 6: The Unforgettable Cruise. Everyone, including Michael, knew what they had to do. They packed their bags with everything they would need for the trip. They located a very big and expensive weapons storage from the former stronghold of the London mob boss. Hello there. Michael then decided that the rest of his allies would take the big and expensive boat to smuggle the weapons they needed to liberate New York. Michael told them to rendezvous with him as soon as they found an abandoned hideout to keep everything in storage. Michael said he would take a public boat to New York with the mask hidden within his briefcase. That's very funny. Very funny. You're a riot. What? As he told them not to worry, so the remnants of the London Mafia set off to do their job. Meanwhile, Michael took a public boat to New York. The boat then left for New York. As Michael was on the boat, he saw a very attractive woman who he greeted. When she was walking past him, she didn't talk to him for a little while, and then she left saying thanks for the conversation. Meanwhile, Chapter 7: The Mob Meeting. The New York Mafia was way stronger than the London Mafia, even in its former glory. Glory. Got to go. Okay, I understand. The New York Mafia had different yet similar ranks. Oh, hi, Roblox Plays. Long time no see. On the 97th floor of the Empire State Building, in the boardroom of the New York Mafia, they all sat and discussed about a way to move into London. Timothy Foprane, grand boss of the Mafia, addressed his fellow members, which were, I'm happy to see you again too. His fellow members, which were Martin Churchill, I will have a nice day, thank you. Master Concierge, and the three concierges, Fred Caproni, Gabriel Mattini, and Mike Thompson. And the three mob bosses, Emilio Loreno, Andrew Martin, and Thomas McDonald. and the 8 underbosses. The grand boss said, I personally think it is in our London is in our best interests because it could be a rich resource and a great asset to our mafia. Therefore, I hereby appoint Martin Churchill to protect our interests in London. Meeting adjourned. Chapter 8. The Arrival. The remaining mafia members arrived 5 days later. They arrived at Rikers Island. Upon arriving, they were met with nothing more than 4 abandoned buildings. They knew they had to immediately scout out the buildings because one needed to be a weapons storage and a separate building for a meeting place. The first 2 buildings... Oh, thank you. You were scrolling shorts and saw my live? Nice. Thank you. Let's see. For a meeting place. The first 2 buildings were unsatisfying to the remnants of the London Mafia. Due to the dilapidated conditions of the first 2 buildings, basically the remnants of the London Mafia felt that their weapons would be too exposed. Thank you. However, the final 2 buildings met the expectations of the remnants of the London Mafia and basically exceeded them also. Chapter 9. The New Recruits. Michael arrived at New York and wasted no time in finding a hideout of his own. He traveled to Brooklyn to find a place abandoned and not controlled. Thank you, I appreciate you liking my life. So awesome. And not controlled by the New York Mafia. He searched and searched, but found nothing. But when all hope was lost, he finally found a place he could call home. An abandoned warehouse. After this, Michael knew what he had to do. He knew he had distant yet close allies, but he also knew he needed a crew of his own to closely watch his back. And so he set off to recruit those with certain talents and a strong craving for justice and freedom. Michael noticed a man. He then greeted the man. The man said, "Do I know you?" Michael replied, "No. But I may have something interesting in store for you." They then went to talk in secret. 20 minutes later, the man who introduced himself as Marco, that was his name, he was a former New York Mafia soldier. Sorry. He was a former New York Mafia soldier. Oh, funny. Yeah, it is funny. Like I said, I wrote this when I was in high school. To join Michael and his cause. He then presented Marco with a mask that was engraved with the number 2, which means second in command. Michael told him only wear the mask when you're on the job. So Marco joined Michael and honored him as his leader. Often referring to him as sir or boss. He was very loyal to Michael because Michael eventually said to him, "You're a real trooper, an honorable second, and I knew I chose right." Where was I at? Next, Michael noticed a strong man walking past him. As the strong man walked past him, Michael asked, "What's your name?" The strong man replied, "Thompson, why?" And Michael replied with a smile on his face, "Because I think those muscles of yours should be put to better use. I think in a cause bigger than yourself." Thomas agreed. So Michael gave him a mask engraved with the letter I. Not I, the letter T. The strongman Thompson asked, "What is this?" "What is it? What is this?" Sorry. Michael replied, "Your new destiny." 2 hours later, Michael recruited 6 more people. Christy, the planner, She's the one that helps Michael plan stealth and assassin operations. Sonny the Trickster, he's the only one without a mask. Michael calls him special because of this. Also not called the Master of Disguises for nothing. Mason the Guardian. He's called Guardian because he protects Michael's interest for freedom. He's loyal. Also, whether it's protecting a spot or liberating one, he's the one who can get the job done right. Alexandra the Assassin. She may be cute and seem harmless, but watch out. Once she lures her target away, she's dead set on getting her job done. Danny the Gambler. It may seem like he has luck on his side, but don't be fooled. He's always trying to find ways to win gambling, even if it's illegal. He makes huge money for Michael, and he's a great asset to him. And last but not least, Caroline the Vengeful. She has a bone to pick with the New York Mafia for forcing her to close down her store. She's still a great work for the cause of Michael. Chapter 10, The Rendezvous. The remnants of the London Mafia sent their ambassador. Do I have a GF? Not yet. I'm working on myself. Self-improvement and all that. Until then, not yet. The remnants of the London Mafia sent their ambassador over to Brooklyn. I mean, it is kind of sad, but I am working on myself, so I'm optimistic. To exchange information on how they were doing. Michael greeted the ambassador with open arms. Michael then gave the letter to the ambassador to be sent back to Rikers Island. It stated that his 7 crew members, including himself. It also contained the names and their titles. Michael, founder. Marco, second in command. Thomas, the strongman. These are all written in cursive, so reading them is quite the challenge. So I'm just gonna say, after the letter was given, the ambassador said, "It shall be done." The ambassador also asked on behalf of the remnants of the London Mafia if they could rebuild their ranks for the sake of our alliance with Michael. Trusted his allies, so he said yes. After that, Michael told the ambassador he had work to do. The ambassador agreed, saying he had to report anyway. Chapter 11, The Report. 10 hours later, the ambassador arrived at Rikers Island to report that they had the okay for Michael to rebuild and restore their ranks. One of the influential mobsters said, "Thanks, but how's Michael?" The ambassador replied, "He's great. In fact, he sent me this letter. When all the remnants of the London Mafia read the letter, they were shocked at how Michael was doing. They said, 'Truly, this man has the skills and smarts passed down from his mother.'" They continued saying, "From now on, once we rebuild and restore our ranks, we will no longer be known as the remnants of the London Mafia. In fact, Michael has inspired us to change our name to the Freedom Fighters." 2 days later, their ranks were restored and rebuilt. Oh, that's cool. Ask him how was school when you get the chance. 2 days later, their ranks were restored and rebuilt. This was their rank and file. Leader, strategist, the 3 underbosses, 6 capos, and the 20 soldiers. Both Michael and his crew and the Freedom Fighters were ready to liberate New York before the New York Mafia takes over London. Chapter 12, The Plan. All of New York was controlled by one mafia. Here is the same name of the location and their controllers. Timothy Faprane controlled Midtown. Little Italy was controlled by Thomas MacDonald. No. Timothy Faprane controlled Midtown and Little Italy. Thomas McDonald controlled Brooklyn. Emilio Loreno controlled New Jersey, and Andrew Martin controlled Hell's Kitchen. Michael knew what he had to do. Michael wanted to gain power for the sole purpose of overthrowing the New York Mafia. But first, Michael bought a $1,000 Packard. He then bought a 25-cent map of New York. A Packard, I mean. He after that marked the Midtown on the map where the commissioner's office is located. He was in off the Midtown. Chapter 13, the ambush. 45 minutes later, he arrived at Midtown and found his perfect destination, the commissioner's office. He then parked his car in a public garage. And the car, by the way, is the Packard. And then walked the rest of the way, to the commissioner's headquarters. When he arrived, he was greeted by the receptionist who asked, "Do you have an appointment?" Michael replied, "No, but I must see the commissioner to give him some important information." The receptionist replied, "You don't have an appointment. However, I'll call the commissioner and see what I can do." When she called him to ask if Michael can be let in, the commissioner replied, "Let him in." Michael then had the clearance to go inside. As Michael approached the commissioner greeted Michael and said, "My name is Gordon. How may I help you?" Michael replied, "I know I'm asking for a lot, Gordon, but hear me out. I need your help to take down the New York Mafia." Gordon replied in shock, "You don't know what you're asking. Leave. Unless you have something else, I don't want to talk about this subject." Did you know I'm from Latvian? I did not know that, actually. Wow, we are going international. But all of a sudden, the commissioner got a call from the receptionist saying, "Help! We are being held up." Gordon wasted no time in drawing his pistol at Michael, saying, "Are you the one that set me up?" Michael replied, "No, but please calm down. Hear me out, because I know who is responsible." Gordon then said, "I'm listening." Michael then proceeded on saying, "It is the New York Mafia." Gordon, who is relieved that it was not Michael who set him up, then said, "I believe you, because my father, the previous commissioner, was killed by the same mafia because he refused to give any money." Gordon then said, "Take my pistol and show these men who's boss." As Michael prepared to leave Gordon's office and engage on a firefight, Gordon said, "And one more thing. If you harm any innocent bystanders, I will have you thrown in jail. Our way clear." I have not played Roblox, no. But my nephew has, though. Michael nodded his head in agreement. Michael then began to open the door slowly, and then started to take cover, shooting anyone he had in his sights one by one. Meanwhile, Gordon called his men and said, "Do not come, for someone is handling the situation for me." The policeman on the other end of the phone replied, "Yes, sir." After 37 later of an intense firefight between the New York Mafia members and Michael, after the firefight, opened the door to the commissioner's office. Michael handed the pistol to Gordon, saying, "The deed is done." Gordon then replied, "Impressive. Thank you very much. You have my support. After all, I owe you my life. I'm in your debt." Michael then said, I appreciate and value your support, Commissioner Gordon. Now, as for me, I need to get back to Brooklyn. Michael continued to say goodbye to Gordon, but however, I knew our paths will cross again. Meanwhile, Chapter 14 Terrible News. When word got back to Timothy Falprane, he was furious because his assassination attempt on the commissioner failed. So this is what you basically do for when living. This is what you basically do for a living or when living. I mean, yeah, part of it. And hello from Norway. Nice. International. Let's go. He demanded the name of the one meddling in his affairs. The reporter replied, "Some fool named Michael Angelos." The grand boss furiously said, "I've had just about enough of this meddling person. If Michael or anyone else goes against our interests again, report to me at once." Timothy Falprane then sent word to the other three mob bosses saying, "Watch out for this fool." Meanwhile, Chapter 15 An Unexpected Visit. Michael knew the New York Mafia would catch up to him. He said to himself, "I will change my name for a little while." Michael Angelos became Alteco di Vincent. Alteco rented an apartment, but as Alteco was in his apartment, somebody knocked at the apartment door. Alteco opened the door only to find out it was none other than the same woman he met on the boat. Alteco invited her in, but she replied, "I cannot come in right now, but I know for a fact that you saved my father, Commissioner Gordon's life." When Alteco heard this, he was surprised that she was the daughter of the commissioner. Alteco mustered up the courage and said, "Would you like to go on a date with me?" She giggled and replied, "Yes, of course. But first, what's your name?" Alteco hesitated at first, thought to himself, and he said, "I think I can trust her." He finally replied, "Michael Angelos, what is yours?" "Book is risen up, yeah?" The woman replied, "Susan, nice to meet you. And by the way, remember, our date is at 11 p.m. Don't be late." Michael replied, "I assure you, a beautiful woman like yourself, no way I would be late." She laughed as she left the room. Chapter 16 More Recruits, More Alliances. Alteco, who, by the way, Alteco is Michael, but he changed his name to Alteco temporarily, somehow found himself recruiting more people to further his cause. Sigma Riz. To bring down the New York Mafia. Leo the assassin. He may not be Asian, but he possesses a sword and skill of a samurai. The sniper. This guy is truly the best marksman anywhere. He once served in the military. Weapons specialist. His skill in all weapons is almost unrivaled. He once served as a weapons dealer for the New York Mafia. Betrayed. Because the Mafia willed it, he dodged a bullet. Yo, the Lucky Joe, what's up? Happy to see you too. And now he has a score to settle with the whole New York Mafia. And finally, Joe the Shadow Walker. He's called that because he specializes in knife in the shadows kind of work. Also, 12 other men and 13 other women pledged themselves to Michael's cause. 11 p.m. Said Michael's cause. Michael eventually found himself Yep, night date. Sorry, hold on, I lost my place. It's okay though. Raising an army of men and women who want to fight for New York's freedom. Michael knew he could rely on the freedom fighters, Michael also knew he had Commissioner Gordon and the NYPD in his back pocket. However, he also knew he had to make two more allies. The allies he had in mind were the federal government and the politician running for governor of New York. But also, it's okay, no worries. I found chapter 17 to date. Michael knew that before he gains two more allies, he had a date at 11 p.m. Michael arrived at the exact time he was told. Susan didn't arrive commenting on his proper attire, saying, "What a gentleman!" Michael and Susan then sat down. Yeah, I can give you a shout out. Shout out to Josiah. Yeah, for the Riz part. Let's see. Michael was so interested in her. Oh wait, no. Michael and Susan then sat down and ate at a fancy restaurant. A half an hour later, Michael was so interested in her that he almost about to tell Susan about his secret, but then hesitated when he had a flashback about what his mother said. Thank you. What his mother said when he was young. Son, can you promise me something? Michael replied, "Yes, mother." She continued saying, "If you ever have a secret life like mine, never reveal it to anyone." Michael replied, "Yes, mother, but why?" She just replied, "Don't ask why, and I'll hold you to that even towards my death. For my time is short, my son." Michael, seeing that flashback, said to Susan, "Thanks for the date and the tabs on me, but I have to go." Susan replied, "Very well, will I pass the house again?" Michael replied with a smile on his face, "Very soon, my dear." With that, Michael left the dinner table bursting with tears about his flashback. So basically, Michael, his mother made Michael promise that if he lived a secret life like hers, she would never tell anyone about it, or he would be careful about it. So basically he didn't tell Susan about he wasn't like fully honest with her. Yeah. Chapter 18. London under siege. Finally, the New York Mafia diverted all attention to London. They had a meeting held in the Empire State Building on the 97th floor. Timothy Falprane, the grand boss, said to Martin Churchill, "I'm sure your brother is very happy for you. It's your time to shine, my friend." With all that, the New York members, including the three mob bosses, said, "Yes, good luck, Martin Churchill." So Martin was given the clearance to occupy London. Leading the occupation is Martin Churchill himself. Meanwhile, Chapter 19, Michael's Terrible Regrets. When word got back to Michael that... Oh, thank you. Tell her I said hi. Hi. When word got back to Michael that the New York Mafia was on the move, he felt a lot of regret and that he had failed his mother. His second in command, Marco, tried to calm him down, but Michael said calmly, "Leave me." And so he left. As Michael was pondering his sadness, his mother's mask called out to him, saying, "Oh, she laid back? Aw, nice. Thank you." The mask called out to him, saying, "Why so sad, Michael?" Michael replied, "Because I failed my mother." The mask replied back, "A good man is not a regretful one. Even if you did fail your mother, which of course is not the case, you should not be regretful. For what you didn't do doesn't define who you are, whether it be good or bad. When you first wore me, Michelangelos, I saw through your eyes, something I haven't seen through your mother's, though your mother was, and bless her soul, the best person ever. On the other hand, you are like your mother, who had a craving for justice, but mostly for revenge. However, I understood your mother very well. You, on the other hand, have a very strong craving for justice and liberty. For all that's what I'm all about, my sweet boy." So basically, the mask is talking to Michael, and that's what he says. Michael took the wise words from the mask into consideration and then replied, "You're right. How can I argue with such wise words? In fact, I personally promise you I will wear you again as soon as I get my last two allies." The mask only replied, "As you wish, but hurry, for I want to be a part of your life." Chapter 20, Michael and his last two allies. Michael then continued to get his last two allies. Michael decided to pay one politician a visit. He paid a visit to a man named Leonardo von William. Oh, Gorgino? Oh, that's cool. Who was running for governor of New York. He was a powerful businessman with many accomplishments and connections to people. Michael somehow found him in Brooklyn. He at the time was just visiting. Michael approached him. Leonardo asked, "Do I know you?" Michael replied, "No, but we need to talk." So they went into a secret place. Leonardo asked, "What do you want?" Michael replied, "Your support." Leonardo asked, "In what?" Michael replied, "To take down the New York Mafia." Leonardo replied, "Fine, I'll support you, but the only reason why I'm doing this is because the New York Mafia tried to kill me." Do I know like one word from Latvia? No, I don't think so, but I'm willing to learn if you do. Leonardo replied, "Fine." Yeah. Michael replied, "You help me, I'll help you. You help me with the sabotage of the New York Mafia. Le- um, I'll see to it at whatever cost you win that election." Leonardo replied, "How can I refuse such a good deal? I'll hold my end as long as you keep yours." Michael replied, "It shall be done. I appreciate doing business with you." "Oh, I don't need because it's what I speak. I will say apple for proof." Okay. Let's see. Michael went on to gain the support of the federal Abols. Abols sound good about now. Michael sent a letter. Oh, nice. To the free branches of the government requesting an alliance. He wrote that I'll help you however I can in exchange. You help me foil the New York Mafia. Each branches of the government got support. Soon got the letter. They each discussed it amongst themselves, saying he's right. Mafias in general are a thorn in our side. They each sent Michael back a letter with their seal of approval, written saying you have our support. Excuse me. Michael, who by now has made a name for himself, changed his name back to Michelangelo's. He was no longer Altocco di Vincent. Chapter 21. The truth comes out. Susan eventually found out that Michael was keeping something from her. She found and confronted Miles, saying in tears, "You liar! Why did you keep stuff from me?" Michael felt sad and grieved. He now knew what he had to do. He had no choice but to tell the truth. Michael said, "Please calm down and I will tell the truth." He sighed and began to speak. "I have a vendetta with the New York Mafia, and my mother had the same vendetta against the London Mafia. I only want to liberate places suffering from the Mafia, because I know I have a strong craving for justice and celebrity. I am only doing what I have to do for the sake of all New York." Susan was so surprised at such a person for his honesty that she exclaimed, "My hero! Thanks for telling me the truth. I appreciate it, Michael." Michael replied, "Thank you for your understanding." She replied, "No, thank you for telling me the truth." With that, Michael left to attend other matters. So basically, he was lying to her and she found out. What will you do when I end the book? I'll probably take. What I'm thinking is I'll take back the Diary of a Wimpy Kid to the library and find Goose. I'm probably gonna read Goosebumps next. That was a suggestion. Um, but anyways, to explain, Susan was mad that he was lying to her, but Michael told the truth, and she appreciated that. So basically, she was gonna like distance herself from him, but since he told her the truth, she she decided to give him a second chance. I think. Like I said, this story was from when I was in high school. How long will I do this stream? Um, until I'm done with the story, and then I'm gonna go to work. Well, eventually. So not too long. Chapter 22, Michael's comeback. Michael knew what he had to do. He went back to get the mask. After that, the mask said, Michael, it's time. Wear me for the sake of New York and London. Is it night for you? No, but it is extremely early. It's 5:29 where I am. Michael, after those words, knew what he had to do. He slowly put on the mask. Michael then became one with the mask. As long as Michael wore the mask, he became even more skilled at everything he did. Michael then went. Sorry, my alarm was going off. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Shoot. My alarm was going off because I set my alarm for 5:30 because I have work, and I got prepared for work. That's why I work as a crossing guard. So I do the school shifts. Michael, after those words, knew what he had to do. He became even more skilled at everything he did. Michael then went to the abandoned Brooklyn warehouse. Marco and the rest said, "What's up, boss?" Michael replied, "New York is what's up." After that, Chrissy advised Michael, saying, "I think we should get the help of the freedom fighters." Michael replied, "Yes, we shall. Actually, I've sent a courier requesting them to join us in a joint operation codenamed Phoenix." The Joint Operation Phoenix. Sunday morning before the sun hits, the streets plan Phoenix was a go. Michael sent 5 of his crew to Brooklyn to destroy and burn to the ground the New York Mafia's reign. There, at the same time, there were crew members going to Hell's Kitchen, New Jersey, and Midtown to burn and destroy their reign also. Michael himself was in Little Italy making sure Timothy Farprane was not left alive for Operation Phoenix. To work all of the New York Mafia, New York Mafia's underbosses had to die. Good morning, David Sanchez. Wait, an alarm like get ready for the job? Yeah, so that's why I set my alarm to get ready for my job. Yeah. Michael saw that it was his lucky day. A car pulled up and Timothy Falprane got out. He tried to bribe a nearby police officer. Michael, seeing the grand boss guard was down, walked up to him and drew a pistol and confronted him. As Michael did this, Michael was yelled out, "Hey, you!" Why am I still streaming? Because my alarm is for 5:30. I set it early. I set it a little bit early because I have to get ready for work, but I still have a little bit of time to stream before I have to get ready for work. That's why. Let's see. Grand Boss, this is your lucky day for freedom. Oh, so how long? Well, I have one more page. So after this, I'm gonna be off the stream for now. As Michael fired his bullet at the Grand Boss, he said, "Aw, shh." As the Grand Boss was bleeding out, he said, "Michael, I'll see you in hell." Michael replied, "I'm looking forward to it." With that, the Grand Boss was dead. The New York Mafia was near its end. 4 days later, Chapter 24, Decisions, Decisions, Decisions. As the remains of the New York Mafia stumbled trying to figure out what they were going to do next, in retaliation, in hell, to Michael and his crew, now that the head boss had died, they had no direction or strength to continue. All they had was the sheer hatred for Michael and everything he has done to destroy the New York Mafia. But at the same time, Michael and his crew were already planning to squash them out like the cockroaches they really are. People feared what the remnants of the New York Mafia would do out of desperation to claim back their city. Michael, however, was not worried, since he is already in cahoots with Commissioner Gordon and Leonardo the politician, who is running up for office. So Michael knew that the New York Mafia had no chance of succeeding in trying to take back their city. Chapter 25, Nowhere to Run. With Leonardo elected governor of New York and Commissioner Gordon and Michael on the same page, he decided what they needed to give. The remnants of the New York Mafia had no chances and nowhere to run. Michael, Leonardo, and Commissioner Gordon created an elaborate plan to bring down the New York Mafia. Michael put in a fake call to one of the remaining mob bosses. I'm on the last page, yes. To one of the London mob... Yes, I am. Saying that the other two mob bosses were against him and were planning to kill him. The commissioner and the governor did likewise. Are you going to get a buzz cut if you reach 800 subs? Actually, it's 700, but yes. At 700 subs, I'm going to get a buzz cut. Oh, I didn't want to say bye either. It's bye temporarily though. Don't worry. I'll be back for the next stream. I have a couple more books to go. Actually, more than a couple. It's called the Masked Murderer Collection, after all. They all agreed without hesitation. Wait. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And they all agreed without hesitation to meet in a burned out bank in London that Michael is very familiar with. Yes, you have Roblox plays, and I'm very grateful for that. As the men arrived with their guns drawn immediately, words were exchanged. The confusion, testosterone, and anger immediately filled the air. As Michael sat at the rafters watching the men as shots rang out and blood was spilled, leaving none of them alive, Michael smiled knowing this was the end of their reign in New York. But Michael also knew it was the beginning for him. So basically, the three mob bosses met in an abandoned bank or something, and they were accusing each other of betraying each other because they didn't have any leadership from the grand boss, Timothy Falprane, because he was dead. So basically, they all killed each other in a gunfight. It was very messy. Congratulations on your getting baptized, Timothy. Thank you, David Sanchez. I appreciate that. Chapter 26, the beginning of the end. Michael knew he had one thing left to do before he could start his new life. Michael didn't want anyone left from the New York Mafia to rebuild. Michael himself lured the remaining detachments led by Martin Churchill. How many actors are in that book? How many you think? Main ones like 5 or 7, maybe main ones. I don't know. By Martin Churchill to London's Bay. He did this by disguising himself as the governor of New York. Michael pretended that the governor was going to betray Michael. Martin Churchill and his men were so excited about killing Michael, they did not consider this might be a trick. As they arrived at the docks in London, instead of the governor meeting, they were met by a masked man who proclaimed, "New York is free!" Their tyranny will no longer be tolerated. The masked man told, "I'm sorry, but the only way to assure this is for all of you to die." Finally, with a snap of his fingers, a net that the mafia had been setting up without notice sprang up around them, trapping them. Michael then took the mask off and said, "Look at my face and see justice, for it is the only thing you will ever see again, brother of Montgomery Churchill." So basically, they're dealing with the last of the New York Mafia. Martin Churchill is the brother of Montgomery Churchill. Montgomery Churchill was the late boss of the London Mafia who died at the hands of Michael's mother. As this was being said, Michael pulled the lever, forcing the net filled with the remains of the New York Mafia to dangle unmercifully over the icy, freezy cold waters of London. Michael then pulled out his blade and swiftly cut the net and watched the men drown, knowing that New York is free and liberated for now till forever because he himself killed the Mafia. Michael was proud and ready to help. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Mike, let me see. Michael knew he had one last thing to do. He had to pay his respects to his mother. Michael arrived at his mother's grave, flowers in hand. But as he spoke to his mother, an apparition appeared. It was his mother. She grabbed her son and hugged him and told him, "Thank you." He smelled her perfume one last time, and as the tear from his eye fell upon her tombstone, she reached him and he felt the love and respect from his mother. And he knew that he had done exactly what he needed to do. Michael turned, walking away, feeling confident and secure, making his new way to a new life. Epilogue. Michael traveled back to New York to marry the woman he loved. Michael said to Susan, "Will you marry me?" Susan replied with an excited tone, "Yes, yes, of course, Michael." Susan now became Susan Angelos, and Michael lived a good life with his life afterwards. The end. All right, then. That's the end of the Masked Murderer 2. Thank you so much, and have a good one.